Hello, football fans. Welcome back to Goalside. When it comes to football, athletes in this sport can never genuinely walk away. Just like doctors are always doctors, soldiers in the U.S. Marine Corps never truly retire, and tigers are doomed to have their stripes. There are certain things that simply can't change. This means that even when a footballer has passed his best years, retired, and built a family up from the foundations, they always, inevitably, return to the beautiful game. Sometimes it will be through management and coaching. Other times they'll turn into TV pundits or online analysts for websites. A few others will take advantage of their fame to become actors or businessmen that are most well known for their careers in the sport. Footballers always return to the discipline that made them who they are. However, the most interesting way for a football player to relive their stellar career is through their sons, or even daughters. And this is something which has already happened more than once. Whether we're talking about Peter and Casper Schmeichel, Brian and Angus Gunn, Patrick and Justin Kluivert, or Diego and Giovanni Simeone, there are currently a few high-quality players making their parents proud through reviving the family name in football, and it's something worth watching. But currently, none of these is as interesting as the boy produced by the famous Erling Haaland, a young man by the name of Erling Haaland, who, as if he had been playing for years at the highest levels, is lighting up both the Austrian League and the UEFA Champions League itself. Wanted by FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool FC, and Manchester United, this video is about the newest star to make a name in the world of football. Erling Braut Haaland was born to mother Gry Marita in the city of Leeds, England on July 21, 2000, making him one of the best players born in the new century currently plying their trade in Europe. His dad, mentioned earlier as Erling Haaland, was living in Leeds at the time due to playing for the biggest club in the city, Leeds United, for whom he was an imposing presence in the middle of the pitch. However, Erling's time in England wouldn't last long. Erling, longtime nemesis of Manchester United's Roy Keane, received a very severe tackle from the Irishman, which all but accelerated the end of his career, and the new dad was forced to return to Norway to recover from the damage done to his weakened knee. Thus, Erling would, for better or for worse, grow up in the country his father had been born in, and would develop away from the drama and stardom of the English Premier League. The family lived in a town named Brine, and it was here that the young Haaland grew to love the sport his father had played so religiously. Erling played football from a very premature age, learning a lot from his dad and his brother, Astor, who famously appears in a photo with a baby Erling, hugging the boy who stood beside him in a full Manchester City kit. Living in Brine, Erling's first youth club would be a no-brainer. At the age of 6, he began training at his hometown club, Brine FK, which was a stone's throw away from where he lived, and which offered him the chance to take part in training at their academy. It was at Brine FK where he spent the entirety of his youth, though he had a few short moments of interest in other disciplines, such as golf, athletics, and handball. He was an athletic child with a strong interest in his physical form and ability, and even weight training wasn't out of the question when it came to his desire to be better at what he did. This led him to receive some recognition within the youth ranks, with which he played, and Brine offered him the opportunity to play for the reserve team, Brine FK2, when he was just 15 years old. His performances were not only impressive, but premature for a boy of his age, and he amassed an immense 18 goals in 14 goals, playing as a tall, powerful striker that was extremely hard to mark. Around this time, Erling was invited to a trial at German Bundesliga club TSG 1899 Hoffenheim. There, he was watched by coaches who had been impressed with his stats for Brine's FK reserves, but his test ultimately came to nothing. However, he would get the chance to play for Brine's first team before long, and he managed to get 16 appearances for the side, albeit without a single goal scored. By this point, the coaches at the Norwegian national team had spotted this young talent, having watched him star in the Norway's second division. To them, he presented an excellent option up front, and he was quickly called up to play for both the Norway under-15 and under-16 squads. He scored a total of 5 goals in 21 matches for these squads, 4 of them coming in 4 matches for the U15s. His name was starting to become more relevant in his country, though it would take a few more years to resonate around Europe. In 2017, Molde FK, one of the top 3 biggest clubs in Norway and one of the 2 Norwegian clubs to have played in the UEFA Champions League, decided to sign Erling on a professional contract, providing him with a debut almost 3 months later. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, now manager of Manchester United FC, was Molde's manager at the time and wanted to get the most out of this young star. In his first season at the club, he produced 4 goals in 20 appearances, having created 1 assist. These weren't incredible numbers, but it certainly helped his confidence to train and play alongside the seniors, finally getting the recognition he had deserved. The 2018 season followed soon enough, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to give Erling a more important role on the pitch as a goal scorer. Therefore, he began to start matches more often, seeing more goals coming as a result. The biggest moment for the tall, strong lad came on July 1st, 2018, when Haaland towered above everyone else on the pitch to score 4 goals against unbeaten league leaders SK Brann within the first 21 minutes of the match. The first 3 goals had been scored 11 minutes apart, with the 4th coming within the 17th minute. Amazingly, the final score would be 4-0. Solskjaer had nothing but praise for Erling once the match was over, comparing him with Belgian goalscorer Romelu Lukaku, and allowing the world to know that several bids had already been rejected by the club for this promising young star. Just a week later, he would score 2 more goals and create an assist in Mold's 5-1 victory over Vålerenga. Another goal arrived in the Europa League in a 3-0 win. By the end of the season, Erling had scored 16 goals in 30 matches and was named the Eliteserien Breakthrough of the Year, which came as no surprise to anybody in Norway. Dominating the Norwegian league at 17 and 18 years old was impressive enough already, but Erling needed more. Thankfully, he would soon start making a mark in Europe. Once the transfer window had opened, the offers came pouring in. Manchester United had watched him at one point, were keeping tabs on his situation, and both Bayer Leverkusen and Juventus made formal bids. However, Haaland was no fool, fully aware that these clubs would happily buy him in exchange for keeping him on their bench without getting any game time. No, he knew. I have to go somewhere big where I can play. It's the only way I can become who I want to be. Thus, Erling Braut decided to accept an offer which arrived from a football club which was relevant in both Austria and the Champions League, but not too big so as to not play him at all. It was the perfect match, and the €6 million fee was quite cheap for what Red Bull Salzburg were actually getting. Haaland hit the ground running at this new club, and this is where the story gets truly interesting. Previously, the issue had been that he had been forced to make use of the little game time he was provided by his managers at Brann and Mold, as well as the few games he got at Norway's under-18 and under-19 squads, for which he both scored 6 goals in 6 games. But Salzburg was a different story. Salzburg actually needed him up front. He started off his time at Salzburg only getting 5 apps total due to having joined the club in January and ending the season only a few months later. But he got a single goal that would provide him more chances the following season. This season, the 2019-2020 season. Because after all, his hot form has come recently. Week after week, his 2019 has been Haaland's incredible year. And this is without paying much attention to the fact that he scored 9 goals in Norway's U20, 12-0 victory over Honduras in May. Starting with an astonishing hat-trick against SEESV Parndorf in the Austrian Cup, where Salzburg won 7-1. He followed this performance with a hat-trick in the Austrian Bundesliga, scoring 3 in a 5-2 win over Wolfsberger AC. A third hat-trick would come a month later in a 7-2 win over TSV Hartberg. And by then, he had scored 11 league goals in 7 games. Jesse March, manager of the club, decided that Haaland was ready for his Champions League debut. And he wasn't wrong at all. Erling scored in the 2nd minute, which was amazing enough, but he would score 2 more at the 34th and 45th minute to become the youngest player to score a hat-trick in their UEFA Champions League debut since Wayne Rooney in 2004. Now carrying a feeling of inevitability with him. He was going to score goals on his opponents no matter what they did. And the current champions of the Champions League failed to keep him out, as expected. With his first shot on target, Erling scored a goal equaling 4 goals in the Champions League and 4 shots on target. And although Liverpool won that particular match, it would be Erling who received the plaudits from the media. At the time of producing this video, Haaland has continued his godlike form, 12 goals in 11 matches in the Austrian Bundesliga and 3 more CL goals against Napoli in a home defeat and away draw. He has since been called up for the Norwegian senior team, with manager Lars Lagerbäck extremely excited with his starlet and potential that he possesses. In conclusion, all of Norway, Salzburg, and the entire footballing world have high hopes and great expectations for this extremely talented youngster. With heavy interest coming from all quarters of Europe, Erling Braut Haaland is a player that will most likely be at a European giant within the next year or two, and who may develop to become one of the footballing greats which we so love to see. Manchester United, FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juve, let's hope he makes the right decision and finds the club which he can harness his talent and turn him into something special. This has been all our video on Erling Haaland. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to subscribe to Goalside. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you right back here next time.